Hey, welcome, FX Airguns. We're going to do an FX Tech today. And by the way, Happy New Year. I know it's February, but January is all about SHOT Show and industry stuff. But now we're getting going. And we brought in the famed guru, Ernest Rowe. We're going to be talking about the Pantera today. These rifles are shipping. They're on the market. Guys are starting to use them. So we want to talk about the models, particularly the 600 and 500, and a lot of things that are happening. And that's all in today's FX Tech. Okay, so Ernest, I know we announced the gun December 7th. And we told you guys then it wasn't quite, they were en route to us. We got them. Now I'll address the elephant in the room. It got delayed a few weeks because of one part. Evidently the whole world decided to be out of straight grips until January.
1, 2, 3,
go! That was why the delay in getting them out there. It was maddening for us as well. But they're out. People are using them. You've been able to spend a lot of time. And I want to talk about some of the things that have been happening, including I know you have some master classes that are out there. Because let's start with the modifications that can be done with this rifle. You've been playing around with it, right? The Hunter
definitely.
and the DoubleAir.
That's what I do. I play around with them. But anyway, this grip, I got used to it. I used to hate it. Now,
You're a fan of the straight
I'm a
grip?
fan. No, less wrist strain. I love it.
Yeah. So on the market, basically this gun has a lot of modularity, right? And this is, I think this is like $25. Basically, if you want to play around with adding more air or configuration with your rifle, you buy this and it gives you two things. You have a new
bottle adapter.
Yeah, for the fill port aspect,
Yeah.
and that's to get a bottle up front. And then a plug, if for more of a hunter option, if you want to remove the bottle at the back, you want to keep the weight really low, you can move that bottle up front. So that's the two options that are there.
On a side note, the brass plug you remove, you cannot transfer it to the rear. Right? It's not going to hold.
Right.
It doesn't have the seal. Got to have that plug.
Right. Now, I think, if I'm guessing, most guys are probably buying it just for this. They probably, like, why not have the bottle in the back? But I understand if you're out hunting, maybe want to reduce weight. And that's really, in my mind, that's really the appeal of the 500, the Pantera 500. You're not going to be using the Pantera 500 as a competition rifle.
Yep.
But it's a very interesting, I mean, there's all the new tech, right? We got the bigger space for slugs. We got the over-the-barrel plenum. There's a lot of hotness with it. The 500, I've used it a lot with, I like to go iguana hunting.
I wish I was there.
Oh, nice shot.
Awesome.
That's how you do it. We did the. The iguana hunting is, I feel like, one of the best things airguns were made for. And the Pantera 500 is perfect for that. I think with that idea of doing that front bottle, you're really adding shot count, so you don't have to fill so often, right?
Yep.
How do you feel performance-wise with 500? What should people be using and shooting?
Now, if you're using the 8mm head hammer weight, well, you'll get this 44 grain hybrids.
They're cooking.
960, 985.
The sweet spot.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that because I know we're jumping all over the place,
Yeah.
but we're just throwing up info on you. Okay, so the Pantera comes with a 6mm head.
Yep.
And the reason the 6mm, it's like we don't know if people want to do heavy slugs or lightweight. It's kind of like a good all around. Now, if you want to shoot, you want to push the limits of the gun. It's very simple. You just call us up or get from your dealer the 8mm.
Yeah, this max out 165. This is about 175, 185.
Yeah, and it's basically in that little extra edge. Now, I will say they don't need the tungsten.
Show me tungsten.
No.
Because the tungsten is not going to open up that valve anymore. And if anything, that heavy tungsten, it's kind of throwing off the finesse of the gun. All you need is the 8mm.
Yeah, you got to overpower with the tungsten. It's going to sound loud.
So it's a little bit of, I know with the impact was always tungsten. You don't need the tungsten with the Pantera, just the 8mm. Now the downside of the 8mm, you're going to remove some of the low end.
Yep.
But I know we were talking
Who wants to
about
go low end?
Yeah.
We're going back in time.
You're not going to be able to do your sub 12 or your really lightweight pellets if you upgrade to the 8mm. So I think everyone in America is nodding like, yeah, of course we're going to do the 8mm. So that's a cheap part. So, okay, you put the 8mm in here. I see that you converted this, was a 480 bottle
480, 300. I mean,
trying to do some math.
yeah.
Carry the one, 780?
Correct.
Yeah, 780. That's a lot
I'll
of
put
air.
700 here and 700 there. Then what is that, 1400?
You can't put a 700 back there.
Yeah, it's got a long
Don't
eye
listen to
relief,
Ernest.
right?
Don't listen to Ernest. But the idea is now you have a lot of shot count if you like it for out in the field. And one thing I noticed on this, if you look at this is a 600 and this is a 500, but if you look at the barrels, You're like, wait a second, that looks about the same, right? Well, let's look under the hood. First of all, you got the smaller plenum.
Yep.
The smaller plenum because, as you mentioned earlier, like this is a 22 cal. We're not doing like the 34 grain or 40 grains. We're doing, you can do pellets, but you're like, probably heavier pellets. You're not doing the 15 grain 22s, but you can do the lightweight, like the 26 and the 30 grain stuff, right? You're talking about the 30 cal earlier, the 44 grain hybrids, perfect for that. Yep. Now look underneath the hood here, under the shroud. There's an airstrip in there. What you have in the 500, they're giving you a lot of space.
Yep.
Because that's really kind of integrally suppressed, right?
Yeah, quieter than without it.
Yeah. I would say if you're buying a 500, you don't necessarily have to get a moderator for it. I mean, I know some people want to get as quiet as possible, but this is actually, depending on what you're shooting, that's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Let me shift since we have this open anyways.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about something that's on the market. This is more applicable for the 600 and 700s. Okay, so let's talk about the 600. These are now shipping to dealers. That is the 250 gram barrel weight.
Heavy.
Competition shooters know why they want this. You want to get your balance point on the rifle, right? So now let's look at the difference between these two. We just showed you what's underneath the hood here, underneath the shroud. I guess the hood would be more what's underneath the block. But okay, so under here, less space, right? So it's going to bark a little bit more.
Yep.
I think competition shooters, it's fine. It's still quieter than a 22 long rifle. And if you want to put a moderator on there, great. But this is where you can put on the barrel weight. These are 9 millimeters in length. So you could actually put 2 on here. And you can get a lot of your weight point because you want to get your balance point right around there. So you have these available. That's 250 grams. And then an update, I know we have the M-Lock weights. Now there's a lot of third-party M-Lock weights, but the ones from FX, they have a routed out kind of place so that the Arca rail can slide in and out because our rail is a little bit custom.
I think it's just fine-tuning the weight by this small one. If you have weights here, if you find your center point, you easily slide this barrel up and down to find the perfect balance.
Yeah. I think people are going to find with these, really, on my setup, I'm just putting some M-Lock weights around here because on a competition rifle, I don't need Picatinny or anything like that up there. I'm putting my weight here where I want it anyways and to keep that barrel nice and stiff.
Wow.
It's more sensitive up in the front than actually over here.
Yep.
So,
but there is the options to put them there where you can still use your Arca.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because you've been testing a lot with the Pantera 600. I think as I've been getting feedback and seeing people use them, they're thinking if they're competition shooting, they have to do the 700. What have you been finding? Because I think they don't necessarily have to do the 700.
no.
Hey, you! Not so fast.
No, because I find the 34 grain javelin are just as accurate at about 980 feet per second, and the 600 can do it just fine, 175 bars.
Yeah. So I know a lot of the talk is what it can, like the 700, what it can do with the 40 grain, but we're finding that the difference of the BC and the 34 and 40 grain, they're very similar.
Very similar.
And the 34...
It's flatter, less of a rainbow, less predicting, less mapping.
So we're finding a lot of guys that I think they're moving towards the 34. I mean, the 40 is an option. Maybe it depends on conditions, right? But the 34, and now with this rifle, especially you gotta put in the 8 millimeter. But you were getting speeds up to what, about 990,
1,000 even.
Yeah, you kind of get that. You got to find a sweet spot for accuracy. But I think this is a viable competition rifle. You don't necessarily have to do the 700, and then you're saving yourself 5 inches.
Yeah, even tight courses in the barricade, you easily move around the 600 advice is 700.
Speaking of competitions, an update: the mini mag is being made right now. It'll be available shortly. So that's the mag that's it's like a 13 round mag, and that's the ability to get the scope lower. What's the benefit of getting the scope lower?
The key point having a smaller projectile rainbow, you need to get the center line, the scope center line of the barrel closest possible, and that's why you need a shorter
mag.
Shorter mag plus a shorter with a 44.
Yeah, you don't want a big objective scope.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
so
be.
you get down
I'm not going to put
possible.
a Theos on my Pantera. I mean, I love the new Theos scope, but a 44, right?
Yep.
Get it really nice and low, and that's the advantage, right?
Advantage, easier to map, and it's a flatter projectile flying, easier to map.
Sometimes I don't know what you're talking about, Ernest.
It's just
But yes, I get the general idea. You want that scope close to the bore, so everything's in alignment. So with the mag it comes with, now you're getting more shots in the round, but then you're going to have to use high rings. Where with the small one, you can do the medium, or depending, all rings are differently. But then you can really match your scope to the height. And I agree with what you're saying. From a competition standpoint, I'd be looking at a 44 objective on it. Another update on the magazines. So as you guys know, this is a standard side shot with a thicker lid to accommodate its projectiles that are 2 millimeters bigger than the previous mag. So this is going to be, on a side note, this is going to be very interesting, I think, in bigger caliber, especially the 30.
Bigger, better, stronger. Bigger, better, stronger. Bigger,
And size like that, because with that length, there's a lot of BC that's going to really help out. And there's not a lot of projectiles now that are 30 and to the size, but I have a feeling ammo makers are starting to play with that.
Yeah, but 22s, I mean, if the 44 grain fits in there, it has a little wobble. I mean, you don't have to get the longest 22 in there and barely fit.
Oh, the 40 grain?
It's not going to work, yes.
Oh, so you said 44,
grain,
I was confused.
Okay. Yeah, that's heavy.
Maybe a 44 is coming. I'm interested.
Yeah, don't let it touch the lid. It'll cause drag, then you won't advance.
Yeah, but with that 2 millimeters, I haven't found anything that's causing problems yet. Now, sorry, the update I was getting to is that the standard side shot magazine that's been on the market is now coming with both lids. So a normal lid for like a Crown, Maverick, Wildcat, and what's going to work for the Pantera. So that's in transition now. At dealers, they probably have some stock of the old, and it's transitioning out. But that is, we started seeing some of our mags come in with both on there. So you just understand the manufacturing process. You got something that's used for multiple guns that is sliding through. So we got the weights coming. Talked about the 8mm hammer. Again, you don't want to put tungsten in your Pantera. All you need is the 8mm hammer. We got the conversion kit for the Pantera Hunter and the Pantera DoubleAir, so you can start modifying it for. Again, I understand that this is a purpose-built gun for competition, but people are excited about the gun. They might want to use it elsewhere. So, great. It's a very simple part.
Yeah.
And I know most of you guys, I know how many bottles and guns you guys have. Let's be honest. You're not going to have to buy anything else. You guys are addicts.
Do you know why you're here?
I'm here for the same reason you is, man. I want some crack.
Outside of that, I mentioned the M-Lock weights are coming. And a lot of rifles shipping. It's going to be easier and easier to find this. I think the wait lists are starting to shrink because we're producing, and so it's no better time to get in and see what's going on. And I'm very excited. By all means, as you guys are out there trying competitions, the NRL 22 stuff, get a hold of us, share your results, get online. Love to get the feedback. We're always trying to perfect and improve the rifles in general. I know that's Ernest's job. He's trying to break it and fix it.
That's what I do.
That's the update. I mean, in general, how are you feeling about the Pantera?
Oh, my favorite so far.
He's the best. Love it.
Wait, more than your impact?
Yes, definitely.
Why?
I don't know. It's less moving parts. It's more solid gun.
It's a really remarkable gun.
Even though it's modular and mix things around, it's still more solid.
What I really like about it is I feel like more so, the Impact's a special gun.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but it's really transitioning over to. I would say if you're a firearm enthusiast that's used to shooting firearms, this is going to feel more at home.
So this, we're at my house now, is where we keep all the guns currently.
So and let me ask you this, Ernest. Final thoughts, because you've spent now a couple of months with Pantera. What's your feelings? How are you feeling about the Pantera?
You know me, it's all about plenum size. So this Pantera has the multiple length plenum, and I love it because I think the plenum, the larger the plenum, the less pressure drop you have when the valve open. And it gives you more volume out the barrel, get more horsepower, speed.
It's doing some amazing stuff. And I know from my standpoint, I love the way the Pantera shoots because I feel like, first of all, the barrel is rock solid with that pressurize around it, and it shoots straight back. We got everything in line here with the way it's built. I mean, the Impact's a special gun and it's different, right? That's the bullpup. So for me, it's. People have been asking me, what, Impact or Pantera? It's what you're doing with it. Now, Pantera is very much a competition rifle, but now we're getting a little bit of options there. Impact has that magazine, that awesome magazine, so
Yeah.
you can't go wrong. But I mean, if you're picking up one gun right now, what is it? I know I hate to do that to you.
Larger magazine or larger plenum? I don't know which. Can I have both?
Yes, you can. You
Yes.
can have both. That's the beauty of things. All right, FX Tech. Thank you, Ernest.
Oh,
Fantastic. Keep the questions coming. We're going to do some Instagram Q&As. So if you guys have questions about this, we're here for you guys. Thanks.
See you next time.